Marine Reacts to Dark Angels by Baldermort's Guide to Warhammer. As always, I'm going to be leaving a link to the original video channel down in the description below, so go ahead and make sure that you check them out. So in that Krieg animation film that we saw a little while ago, I had mistakenly confused the Dark Angels for the Salamanders, obviously because of the color scheme, but I should have seen the actual symbol, and the actual color is supposed to be a little darker on the Dark Angel as far as the green goes. And I haven't really gotten too much of any lore on them, besides the fact that they're supposed to be somewhat similar to the Salamanders from what I've been told. Now, I'm going to go ahead and see kind of what the case on that is. And also, I'm just really excited to hear another Baldermort's video, just because his voice, his storytelling, really does it for me. So let's go ahead and get into the actual video. But before we do, don't forget to like, subscribe, really does help me out a lot. Hit that notification bell right there, and you get notified every time I do upload. Sometimes I'll upload twice a day. Now I'm working on them whenever I can, and then releasing them early the next day. That way when you all wake up, you got a fresh new video first thing in the morning. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what the Dark Angels are all about.
I have not had such a luminous guest on my ship for quite some time. I have no idea of what he is about to say, but one can never tell with this particular stripe of Inquisitor, Ordo Hereticus. They have a distinctly single-minded way of looking at things, as do all Inquisitors. But they never link the dots. They never understand the widespread repercussions of their actions. It comes from specializing in one discipline too much. It becomes all-consuming. So many of our brethren Astartes do the same. They fall into the trap of being exceptional at one discipline.
And that was also kind of the thing we saw in the Salamanders video that he did, where it really talked about how they're really into like helping people and not just focusing on what their obviously main objective is supposed to be, right, which is to kill. But it seems, at least from right now, that obviously they don't typically tend to focus on that. At least the Dark Angels and the Salamanders, like, yeah, they're good at it and they can do it, but that's not, to them, their sole purpose.
So they lose track of the need to be competent at all. Flexibility, a strength unto itself. He sits there with his face raised and his nose wrinkled, like being here offends his sensibilities. His nose most of all, it seems, but with a hawk-like beak like that, it is no wonder it is the most pronounced of his senses. I stare passively, waiting for him to shatter the silence. He is used to others breaking under his gaze and babbling out their greatest secrets. Inquisitors. Only human. He grows tired of the standoff. His excitement to cut to the chase is almost crackling off him like lightning. Thank you for your time, Captain. I know you Dark Angels are so very, very busy. Always skulking about and so rarely with a recorded presence. Like shadows.
It almost seems, I mean, at least this guy specifically, I don't know how the whole Inquisition actually is. I haven't seen a video dedicated to them yet. That they seem, to a certain extent, or at least this guy, and it's pretty obvious that very pompous or very cocky. And when he said that he's only human, obviously I'm at that certain point where I keep thinking everyone has a gene seed, but it's like obviously not everyone does, and obviously he does it. So just imagine he's like a little small dude, and he's looking up probably at this Dark Angel captain, I believe he said. God, I'm really hoping I don't mess that up, but he's looking at him. And he's kind of just talking to him, even though he's looking up. It seems like he's talking down to him, possibly just because he has more of a direct line to the Emperor.
Let's save some time, shall we, Inquisitor? You have a whole galaxy of old women and simpletons to put to the question, then burn, slapping yourself on the back all of the way at how you have single-handedly saved an imperium that has lasted millennia before you were born and will survive millennia after your life has run its course. There we have it, the Dark Angel's sneer. Your Astartes think you are so much better than the rest of us mere mortals. I have seen things you would not believe. You overblown tin pot, get to the point. Why are you here? I thought it important to let you know before I take my findings to the High Council. What exactly, little man? He takes out his pick, places it daintily on my desk and slides it across to me. I know what I will see. The image contains scenes of a gaggle of tainted traitors all wearing power armor. My gorge rises as I see the element he has so clearly enhanced for my viewing pleasure. A marine in green armor. A Dark Angel by his markings. One of the fallen. Cat got your tongue. I push back the picked caster and stare at him, at the smug smirk nestled under his beak. I have long held suspicions that you Astartes are not to be trusted. You are power-armored cannon fodder. Your myth, especially that of the mighty fighting first, is built on lies.
It seemed like the way they were describing it is that maybe a Dark Angel had been corrupted, possibly. And also, I just really seen a lot of friction between the Inquisition and possibly every other Space Marine chapter. I don't know if it's these ones in particular. Like, people, like, I don't know what this guy's, I guess you want to call it, rank is. I mean, I don't even know what his specialty is. Obviously, I know it has to deal with more on the demon side of things, with chaos, the warp, but I don't know exactly what his role specifically is. Like, maybe he's just an administration guy for the Inquisition. I don't know.
Now I see that your oh so vaunted purity is an utter baseless fable. I rise from my chair and slowly pad towards the door. I am taking my surroundings, like I'm choosing my words carefully. So, you have a blurry pick and an axe to grind. Why should this concern me? It is the evidence that I have long yearned for. The evidence that you Dark Angels are up to no good, as they say. I came merely to see the look in your eyes. So little shock, so little rage. Nothing. Now that I've seen it, I am quite sure that you were aware that this may be discovered. Time to find out a bit more, I think. I suppose you have already informed your colleagues that our downfall is imminent, and your speech to the Order is a mere formality. I pick up a small object, a medal. I project that I am looking at the fate of our glorious legion, my brothers of all Dark Angels chapters being thrown into the mud, as I walk past him, calmly, slowly. He stays silent. Time to make certain. You know that the legend of the Dark Angels is sacrosanct. The entire Imperium, every man, woman and child looks to our deeds, our honor, our sacrifice, our legend. They look, and no matter how bad things may seem, no matter how hopeless, they believe in us. They believe in the First. They believe we are the Dark Angels of wrath that are sent by the Emperor himself to save them. It buoys them up, it gives them hope. Would you throw that away so easily? Is it worth it over one picked Inquisitor? Don't lecture me, Captain.
So it seems like he's really, the Inquisitor is really starting to, I guess, generalize, because he has a little bit of information, but I obviously, being the Warhammer 40K universe, any form of heresy could be seen as depicting everyone else also, and somehow some kind of maybe conspiracy or connection to that. Now, the fact that it seems like he wants to take apart the Dark Angels, right? And obviously, the captain is it seems like, I mean, obviously he seems like ashamed of it, that if it did happen, because as I said before, it seemed like he was showing him dark angels that was already corrupted, and he seems like maybe ashamed of it. It seems and they did say that it sounded like he didn't want to have it leaked out because of the implication that it could give, because you see in Astartes, especially a dark angel who was supposed to be the first legion, and that you're immediately looking at them as an angel in and of themselves. But the moment you get like one little, I guess, taint, or like a little bit of taint, and oh god, that came out kind of wrong. But any type of little dip of corruption, I guess, can make it really look bad for everybody else, and then maybe even like have people not believe in them in the long run.
The Imperium will survive. It will become stronger, because it will be built on truth. Better to cut the infection now than allow it to spoil the entire well. I came to be certain, which I now am. I will take my leave and report to my colleagues when I tell them it is inevitable. Your days are done. So, you are going for the big reveal, your moment in the sun. Is the morale of the Imperium's fighting men and citizenry worth this? I ask you to reconsider. He leaps to his feet, standing to give a very well-rehearsed speech, but he does not turn. You can see the pics flashing around him in his mind's eye. Feeble egotist. No! You will be brought to justice, all of you. When I drop this bombshell, it will be the crowning glory of my career. They will say forevermore that it was I who took down an entire chapter, an entire legion of traitors, that I, Cassius Corm... I look at the lifeless body slumped on my desk. He did not hear me creep up behind him. Some always believe that big means slow and heavy. He did not notice my hands were on his head and shoulder until it was too late.
Honestly, I forgot this whole time that he was actually behind him, because he did mention about pacing across the room. And the moment he said that he should reconsider what he's going to do, I immediately thought, like, I wonder if he's going to kill him if he doesn't. And the fact that he just wanted to get rid of a whole... See, at that point, I guess I could understand it if he thinks that the corruption could spread. But to get rid of a whole chapter, I don't think even the other chapters would like that very much. And I would say it would draw a lot of negative attention to the Inquisition itself. Because if it's one of those instances where say, hey, if they did it to that chapter, what if they try to do it to us? Because obviously, I don't think any chapter is going to go down without a fight. But then again, the Inquisition would have Grey Knights. But I mean, in any case, I just don't think it was a good call on his end to do that and then have his back to him the whole time as well.
I will now have to execute his entourage and dispose of his ship. I would say it is a waste, but from his opinions I feel that I've done the Imperium a great service today. I will drink to him though, for he has brought to my attention one of the fallen. It has been some time. I prepare myself to commune with the inner circle of the Council. I will need support. The sector from the Pict is rife with traitors. I will need the aid of my brothers to do this efficiently, cleanly, and swiftly. Months. It has taken months, but now we are ready. It is about to begin. Long have my brothers and I sat on this ship, sound at a minimum, quietly sliding through space on our velocity alone. Nothing but the most basic of life support. It has allowed me to drill the men thoroughly. We are ready, as we always are, but this must work seamlessly. It must work without a single error. We will not be swayed from our course, our target. One may look at what we are doing and say it is a waste of resources, but it is not. As I stated to the Inquisitor, our legend is more important than anything, as it keeps the entire Imperium afloat, keeps it together, allows the beleaguered world's populations and the fighting forces of humanity to remain keen, thinking maybe if they hold on longer, we, the Dark Angels, will save them. We don't always, but often enough we do.
So I guess really just hammering down that providing hope in a hopeless universe. You can really start to see like why a lot of people would really like these guys for that.
Plus, these scum do indeed need to be winkled out from this system. It was not the highest priority before, as it is a smaller renegade fleet. But while we are here, we will sweep house. We will purge these scum in the name of the Emperor. The commander of this vessel is well briefed. Nothing shall go wrong. As I stand in a comms section adjacent to the teleportarum, I look at our trajectory and the time and date stamp. We are only seconds away. I am calm. I clear my mind before the combat. Panic, frenzy, rage, and other emotions. Ha! They are for the later legions and their chapters. We are Dark Angels. We were built for this. We do not do it because we enjoy it. We do not do it because we are filled with zeal of the religious, for we adhere to the imperial truth. We do it because it is our job. It is why we exist. I watch the time counter as we approach the enemy fleet.
So not because they enjoy it, not because they're zealous or fanatical, like say for example the Black Templars. So more doing it just because that's what they're supposed to do, like their job. So would that also refer to and include helping people or like expanding their mind just because that would make them more effective at their job in terms of providing some kind of hope to the people, and that just makes them work a lot better? But at the bottom of the line, they're just doing it because it's the job. Very interesting, because I was thinking that maybe they were just doing it, or he was probably going to say something along the lines because that's what they think is right. But it comes back down to that job.
Must be 24 ships awaiting us, but only 3 cruisers. No battle barges. The rest are frigates and escorts. We are, on paper, outnumbered. But for months we have ploughed toward them on velocity alone, silently, stealthily, taking a tactic straight from the playbook of the Alpha Legion. Ironic and effective. To turn the weapons and tactics of the enemy back on them. Satisfying. It is time.
This is not a drill. This is not a drill. This is not a drill. This is not a drill.
I flick one switch, indicating to the commander to begin. Outside in the colder space, 1,000 flares explode in quick succession, filling the night with light. We have all been dropping them since we set off, at regular intervals to create the maximum effect. The Auspex scanners of the Renegade fleet will be blind for up to a minute after this. Plenty of time for us to get in amongst them. Immediately, there is a shuddering in the ship and lights come on all around me as the main engines fire up. I see the Deathwing Knights standing in the corridor awaiting my signal to enter the teleportarum. They are ready. The battle begins. As soon as our Auspex is up, I can see the others, a full battle barge each, from my brothers of the successor chapters, the Angels of Redemption, Angels of Wrath, and Persecutors of Darkness. Each one commanded by a chapter master, no less. If it were any other situation, I would take orders from them, but we are hunting a fallen, so I hold command, as I am a Dark Angel chapter captain, and higher in the inner circle. 4 of us against 24 of them, but we will be in amongst them, and they are blind. The commander then launches the 2 sets of discharges I instructed. One containing drop pods towards the surface of the planet, the other to discharge boarding missiles at the Renegade's flagship and other cruisers. The Auspex plots the path of the pods and shows them entering the atmosphere with their support craft, all in black. The Ravenwing will prepare the way. I also note that the other ships of our meager force have launched their boarding missiles into the other cruisers, as we agreed. Soon Dark Angels and their brother successor Astartes will be ranging the decks and corridors of the enemy fleet, causing pandemonium, fighting their way to the bridges and engine rooms. Okay,
a lot of stuff. Obviously a lot of this part right here is still, this is also with Baldermort's other videos that I have seen, is that it's very story based in the beginning or about halfway, and then the other half is usually the actual lore behind them, maybe like some of the recruitment process, kind of how they were founded, etc., things like that. Also, I have to be aware of the time frame that this is kind of occurring, or this is actually a story within some of the actual lore. But as far as them going onto the vessels, I would be very curious to know what kind of tactics, or like what's the general procedure of boarding another vessel, because I'm always going to be under the impression it's like kind of like how in this picture right here, right? You see this big hole that looks like inside one of the ships. Now, with that in mind, do they have to be cognizant of, obviously, how they're firing, because if they shoot and it makes a hole, it's going to maybe suck them out. I would assume that these suits can protect them in space in terms of like not killing them and letting them breathe. I got to really check out the power armor video as well. But yeah, besides that, just kind of what the general things are as far as boarding a ship, and and also just seeing kind of like what tactics they use while they're in a ship-to-ship type combat scenario, and see like kind of what they have to be cognizant of, and yeah, just things of that nature.
Renegades won't have time to know what hit them. But the Auspex shows me that there is some talent in our adversaries as fire starts arcing towards our ship. It is feeble. Despite our void shields being down for a very specific reason, it will do no more than scuff our paint. At this range, our firepower pops escorts like pimples. They turn and attempt to flee, reducing the fire coming in to this old warhorse. We need only weather a minute or two to allow the Ravenwing to do their job, to get near the central encampment where the traitor is being feted as a salubrious guest, no doubt. Moments pass, but the light swiftly shines. They have dropped the teleport beacon. I signal to the commander that I am leaving and march the few steps to the teleport arm surrounded by 5 Deathwing Knights. Our ancient and hallowed tactical dreadnought Terminator armor is slow and heavy, but we have trained for decades in how to use it. We leave. Appearing on the planet, it is as it should be. All is ablaze, and craters and bodies litter the traitor camp. The Ravenwing fly above us in jets and speeders, the roar of their bikes a distant thing as they harry and confuse the enemy, allowing us our window.
First of all, I'm really digging the sound effects and like just the story way that he's doing it. But as far as, because he said that it was their camp, right, or like their kind of the corrupted Dark Angels, their base of operations in a sense. And instead of, I know Exterminatus is destroying the whole planet, but could they have some type of aerial support, at least from orbit, maybe to just kind of destroy it out all in one go? Or do they maybe have some shields that would come up if that would happen? Or are they always more of the, hey look, he actually has the banner attached to his back? That was a Hell's Reach reference, but or do they just prefer a lot of that more hand-to-hand combat? I mean, obviously one could be very effective, although I don't know although I wouldn't understand what maybe some of the procedures or like what is needed for that to actually happen.
A machine gun nest fires down on us, its slugger shot bouncing off our Terminator armor and large storm shields without any effect. The nest is silenced by a passing Vengeance land speeder. The Ravenwing do not disappoint. We are directly before the main building in this travesty of a camp. Why they were here, I don't even care. The Knights take point and charge the building. I fire a few Stormbolter shots and see them blow chunks off the wall. It is weak. The Knights now accelerate and I follow them. We plough straight into the wall and burst straight through it. The Knights make short work of anything inside, their flails wielded with discipline. They smash aside the smaller and less armoured traitor Astartes in front of us. They fly like rag dolls or crumple like paper structures. We move into the heart of the facility. The last door is torn down, and the last two figures remain. A Chaos Lord stands in the fore, his axe perpetually dripping an ocean of blood. I leave him to the Knights. I snap my arm up and fire my Stormbolter at the other figure. His green armor explodes on his right side as his arm is torn off from his body and he is thrown back. I have crippled him, for certain, but I will have my prey. He is Astartes. He will not die of this before the Knights have crushed this Chaos Lord and cleared the path to the body. I look forward to passing him into the keeping of the chaplain. He is ours. One more stain to be removed from our honor. One more step towards redemption.
Shit. I was really hoping to get a little more information on the Warlord. Chaos Marine, or I'm going to just say Warlord. The Chaos Warlord. I don't know. He just looked really cool, and I would have liked to understand kind of what his backstory was.
Welcome, gentle listener. I am Baldermort, and I wish to introduce you to the forces and factions of the Warhammer 40K universe. Today, we will be exploring the mighty fighting First Legion, the original Astartes, who were the first to accompany the Emperor of Mankind into his wars, the illustrious Dark Angels. I would have it noted that I am not a Dark Angel player, in case any wonder from my approach to this faction. I can only ever say it how I see it. The Dark Angels are the first of the Legiones Astartes, the legions of space marines that were forged by the genetic engineering and, some say, dark pacts made by the master of mankind, the Emperor, with forces none will openly admit. With his space...
If anyone does know the Dark Forces, I would very much like to know. Or it might be warp related. Chaos related, I mean.
Space Marines, he not only unified Terra, the grimdark name for Earth, but he then went on to conquer the lion's share of the Milky Way galaxy. Pun intended. Each of the legions was made to perform a very specific task, and all had their specialities. Some, like the World Eaters and Blood Angels, were things of rage and butchery. Some, like the Raven Guard and the Alpha Legion, were things of stealth and subtlety. Some, like the Iron Hands and Imperial Fists, were stoic and steadfast. Some project that they are perfect, like the Ultramarines and the Emperor's Children. But what of the Dark Angels? The Dark Angels were the first legion, the very first to be recruited, trained, and then deployed by the Emperor in his wars.
Alright, so since they were there first, and you mentioned about, and I've also kind of seen this as well, like each chapter would kind of have their own specialty. It seems like since they were maybe the first, I'm going to assume real quick, I'm pretty sure he's going to say it, but I'm going to assume that these guys are supposed to be kind of like say the Marines in today's world, right? Like a basic 0311 is supposed to be the jack of all trades. Like they were kind of meant to do everything, but obviously not to the extent of say some of the other chapters, just because they would focus on specifically a certain discipline a lot more. Like say with the ones he was saying about the stealth, and obviously Dark Angels would be able to do everything, just not every single little thing to the level of someone who specifically focuses in that. But that's just what I'm guessing.
They fought alongside him, and were initially his only legion, while the numbers of the others grew. Many legions eventually took part in the Unification Wars, but it was the first, the Dark Angels, who fought most and fought longest. Their banners groaned with the accolades and pennants of their victories. Their glory was only ever eclipsed by one other legion, the Lunar Wolves, but this is a story for another time. The Dark Angels are always seen by some as a second option. Second place in nearly all disciplines, all methods of war. Not as furious as Black Templars or Blood Angels, not as good at defense as Imperial Fists, etc., as I have stated. But there is a secret in this chapter. No, it is not the one you may be thinking of that I will go into in more detail very soon. It is not the Fallen, gentle listener. The secret in the grim darkness of the future is very simple. The Dark Angels are the most dangerous of all of the legions of the Emperor, for they are not specialized, but they can perform any of the specializations with nearly the same effect as their brothers of those roles.
I called it, didn't I? I called it. Jack of all trades. Considered always second place. There's an ice cream truck outside. Considered second place to a lot of things, but they can kind of do everything. They're just not, I guess you would say, if you want to put it in today's terms, a master of everything, right? Now, that is crazy because these guys could be very adaptable to almost any type of single scenario. And not only that, be able to amplify, say, if they were to team up with another chapter. I mean, I kind of saw it coming from the way he was describing it, and just because they were the first. Now, makes a lot more sense, and turns out it was right. I'm not always right, but when I do, I try to savor those moments because I know how many times I've been wrong in the past.
They are, simply put, the most adaptable, the most flexible, the most well-rounded and most dangerous force of Marines that the Emperor commands outside of the Grey Knights.
Alright, let's go ahead and talk about that for a minute. Not a whole lot to say. I really like the story and the story building in the beginning. Just because it really starts to get you really immersed as to what you're going to be doing. And that part with the Inquisitor, when he killed them, the sound effects, the music, which I'm really hoping none of it gets copyright claimed. But in any case, I really, as far as, from my personal experience as an 0311, being a jack of all trades, I feel like the Dark Angels, Space Marine-wise, probably describe the Marine Corps. Or not the Marine Corps itself, but an 0311. Because not only do we practice in tactics, weapon emplacement and use, even though our primary weapon is an M4, we're also dealing with, we have to be able to work at 240, you got to be able to work Mark 19, 50 cal, not really a small, really, I mean, we might learn about it, but we probably wouldn't use it very often. I mean, but if the chance came that it did, we would at least know how to use it. So I kind of got away from the actual Dark Angels right now, but just that whole aspect of like just knowing how to do a little bit of everything, being very adaptable. So that was honestly the only real thing I wanted to talk about, just because it's the one thing that really just connected with me. And pretty sure if you're a Marine or if you're in any other type of branch, like maybe the Army, it's kind of would resonate with you as well. So I think for the Army it's like 03 Bravo or something. I don't know. I honestly don't even know if the other branches have the same MOS type structure, because I mean for me I focus mostly on Marine Corps stuff. But in any case, I guess what's a little information about me. Okay, so if you made it this far, here's a little snippet of just about my life, or just something about me in general. When I first got to the fleet, and you know how you have to take a little bit of a drug test when you barely get there, I was a little nervous because I had a stutter, and I don't want to do anything that would make me come off as a shitbag. So when I'm with a couple of my buddies and we're getting led around by a senior, doing all our checking and stuff, we take a drug test, and then they give you the bottle, and they say, and it's in a little office, and the bathroom is like right down the hallway. They give you a little bottle and be like, all right, go piss in this cup, and because it's the drug test. And I immediately thought, for some whatever fucking reason, okay, well, what if I can't pinch it off? Because I'm thinking I got to do it in the office, because I would assume somebody would have to look, right? Because they have to make sure that you're not tainting it with something. And then it wasn't until after I was about to pull off a button on one of my trousers, I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why would I do it here? But then again, I wasn't told, or I didn't even know where the bathroom was supposed to be at. And everyone just looked at me like, what the fuck are you doing? And that was one of the most embarrassing moments in my life, because I was like, oh shit. And then, so I went in, did the thing. I came back, staff sergeant's fucking laughing at me. Seniors laughing at me. Understandable, right? I mean, hell, I was nervous. I didn't want to fuck up. But then, obviously, people started finding out about it. Made fun of me about it for a little while. But, hey, you got to be able to laugh at yourself sometimes. I still can't believe I did that. Luckily, I didn't whip anything out. But now you know a little something about me and some embarrassing moments. But that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Really does help me a lot. Hit that dislike button if you didn't like it. If you're curious to see what's coming up next, there's a list down in the description below. Top to bottom is going to be how I view them. But until then, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.